beautiful little unicorns, and welcome back to my channel. If this is indeed the first time that you're on my channel, I'm Vanessa Somuayina and welcome to the fam. So you guys, today's reading is all about the predictions that I have for May for your zodiac sign. So each zodiac sign gets its individual reading, and the timestamps to each sign can be found in the description box as well as pinned to the comment section. So the more signs that you watch, the more accurate your reading gets. So feel free to watch your sun sign, your moon sign, any sign in your birth chart that you feel reflects you the most. And before I get into the readings, I have an exciting little freebie for you guys. So I have created an updated and free version of the PDFs that help you pick the right card and pick a card reading videos each and every time. And I also have a few tips on how you can cleanse your crystals within that PDF. So before, the free downloads used to be 2 files. Now it's just one where you get all the information within that one download. So the free download can be found on my website under free downloadables. Make sure that you get it. There's literally nothing to lose. It's free, and I created it in order to help each and every one of you get the most accurate readings. So if you're new to my channel, do not forget to subscribe to never miss another reading that is relevant to your sign in your life, as well as more free downloadables. I want to create more content that you guys can download for free and get even more value out of. So yeah, aside from that, I want to get into the readings, and I'm going to be starting off with the Aries. And to all my other gorgeous zodiac signs, I will catch you at the click of your timestamp. Hello all my gorgeous Aries, and welcome to your May prediction of 2020. So as an Aries, you're the first in the zodiac signs, which kind of reflects in your personality. You're somebody who can be competitive, who likes to be first, who likes to be pioneering, and that is one thing that we all appreciate in you. So let's see what's happening for you in May of 2020. So we have impartiality as well as wisdom. So one thing that I see here is that impartiality is something that can bring you a lot more wisdom and maturity in May of 2020. So you may ask yourself, what does that mean? So let me show you this card real quick. In impartiality, one thing that I see here is, this person is holding a bucket with blue paint as well as some sort of like red or brown paint, but it doesn't matter what paint that this person uses, they're happy either way. So I want you to kind of like do the same in your life. I see that May of 2020 is going to kind of throw some things at you, maybe some colors at you that may have not been the ones that you expected or that you desired specifically, but it's important for you to kind of just go with what you receive, to be grateful for what you receive, because that will give you more maturity in the sense of understanding that sometimes the things that we didn't ask for or didn't wish for can still end up coming with a lot of kind of like blessings and coming with a lot of positives that we didn't expect because we never even looked into that. So then we have a past lives as well as awareness. So all my Aries in past lives, one thing that I see here is that May of 2020 is a great time for you to release past life karma. One thing that I see here is that, you're an old soul that has a lot of deep wisdom to share, and I see here that healing your past lives is something that will raise your vibration. And in awareness, I see that that will allow you to live in the moment more, because you know that you've dealt with this kind of like past life karma and you don't need to worry about it anymore. So become conscious of your thoughts and also feel this kind of awareness seep through you in May, where you understand that all you have is this moment, and tomorrow is something that you may think about. The future is something that you may worry about, but you will never have the future. You will never live in the future. You will always only live in the now and have possibilities in the now. So then we have the King of Crystals, we have the Three of Shells, we have the King of Acorns, as well as the Tower. So we have 2 kings within your reading, all my Aries. I want you to know that this is something that really just kind of embraces your specific Aries energy a lot more, okay? Your kind of fiery energy, your energy that is very out there. I want you to know that these 2 kings are energetic, just like you. They're enthusiastic and confident. They're dynamic, okay? They're very quick, fast to pick up on different kind of scenarios, different kind of things in life. So one thing that I see in regards to that is when it comes to the Tower, whenever things kind of fall apart, which something will crumble in May, okay? I'm not gonna lie to you. I am a completely honest tarot reader. I just tell you what I see. In the Tower, I see that you have to release, that you have to let go of something. So that could be a connection in your career, it could be a connection in your personal life, but I see that because you're so kind of innovative as well as quick and street smart, you're able to overcome heartbreak quicker than others because you learn how to focus on things that bring you joy instead of on things that are kind of bothering you or bugging you, okay? And the Three of Shells, I see that instead of being sad about a situation in May, you're actually going to be in total bliss because what did you do? You problem solved, you hung out with the people who make you happy, who make you feel at home and safe and taken care of, and you kind of left whatever feelings that were negative or whatever feelings that could have bugged you or were bugging you, you left those behind because you saw they're not going to serve me anyways. So that is a very Aries kind of thing to do, to be quick, to problem solve in a way that, yeah, it can be impulsive and you can be kind of impatient, but at the end of the day, it does come in handy for you more often than not. So we have joy, abundance, we have perfection as well as release. So we do have a lot of positives here within May for you in 2020. I see here abundance as well as joy. So abundance as in doing well financially, you know, making good steps in your career, your professional life, and having fun doing so. So it's important for you to enjoy that, to enjoy having fun doing so, to embrace the fun side and not to focus on perfection, because that is one thing that you may sometimes tend to do. You tend to be a perfectionist, or you tend to not want to put content out unless you feel as though it's perfect or you feel as though it is worthy, okay? So you're kind of like your own biggest critic, if you will. And one thing that I see here is that you have to release that. We have that 2 times. We have that for one in the Tower, as well as just release as just a clear message to you, okay? So let go of that kind of thinking. Know that the most important thing is to just get started, to just put something out there. I mean, nobody puts out perfect content as a very first trial. You may only see really nice content down the line, especially with creators or musicians, that their first song, their first creation, their first YouTube video, whatever it is that it was most likely not the most popular and was most likely not a perfect attempt, okay? So it takes time. Give yourself that time as well, and don't compare yourself to things that people have taken years to create and perfect. Know that everybody starts somewhere, okay? So in May of 2020, we have a lot of growth happening for you, a lot of maturing, as well as you being able to just enjoy abundance coming towards you. In the 2 Kings, I also see you kind of taking the lead as you naturally can do and like to do, and just putting yourself in a prosperous position. So all my dear Aries, I hope that you enjoyed your reading and that you found it insightful. Let me know down below in the comment section what hit home for you, what you enjoyed, and I will see you in one of my upcoming readings. Hello, all my Tauruses of the world, and welcome to your reading about May of 2020. So this is an interesting month for you, okay? It is a month where a lot of you have your birthdays coming up, so it is going to be a month that is fun. So let's move into your reading. We have Awakening as well as the 3 of Acorns. So in Awakening, I definitely see here kind of like a renewal. You know, we are coming up to your birthday, so it's important for you to just enjoy that. Enjoy this awakening, enjoy this time that you have come to another chapter, another cycle in your life. So even though the situation may be a little bit awkward in the world, that should not stop you from kind of seeing that the moment is still valuable and that you can still have this like renewal of energy and start this new year in life on a good note. In the 3 of Acorns, I see here that you have to kind of look ahead a little bit. So one thing that I see as a message is that there are certain aspects in your life, okay, in your relationships and your career, where you have not looked ahead far enough. So you're kind of focused on the immediate outcomes, on maybe like immediate gratification, which is fine, but at the same time I see that you have to have a bit more foresight. So think to yourself how you can be more successful in your career, in your relationships, how you can have them work in a more seamless way, and then take or make a plan to action. We have past lives as well as leadership. So it's important for you as a Taurus to not fall into stagnation. If you've been at home a lot, which you probably have been, you may have gained a lot of weight as well, okay? Because as a Taurus, you're somebody who likes the finer things in life as well as good food. So in leadership, one thing that I see here is that you have to kind of step into that leadership role where you let go of eating too much, where you let go of being in kind of like a lazy place or a complacent place. That is where I see in foresight that you need to think to yourself, if I keep doing this day in and day out, am I going to have reached my goals in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? So if the answer to that question is no, then you know that you have to make some changes. You have to take the lead on what you're doing every single day to make sure that each day is like a step towards what you truly want. In past lives, I see that some of these like blockages or some of the laziness that you may be experiencing in May of 2020 is, yes, maybe because you feel as though, okay, another year of life, but I'm not where I wanted to be. I didn't do as much as I wanted to do. I see that part of that feeling has to do with the fact that you're releasing some past life karma. I see that, you know, you're an old soul. You're somebody who has a deep, mature understanding of life and just the existence of people. And it's important for you to not be too hard on yourself and to know that we go through different phases. And if you don't like how the last year of your life turned out, or you feel like you didn't do as much as you ultimately wanted to do, then make a plan, have that foresight ready in order to just be able to take inspired action each and every day. So a year from now, on your birthday, you can be 100% sure that you will be proud of all of the achievements and accomplishments that you have been able to kind of accumulate and gain. So then we have faith as well as destiny. So you just have to believe that the universe is here to provide good. The universe is here to provide you with value as well as opportunity. That is one thing that I see within your reading. Then we have victim as well as completion. Okay, so it's important for you to know that what is meant to be will be in May of 2020. So I see that you have the tendency to want to fall into a victim mode and feel as though, oh, you know, like my birthday isn't maybe how I wanted it to be or how I pictured it to be. Just the entire month of May is kind of like a little bit weird with everything going on. But I see here in completion that we're coming to an end of that phase. So don't get drawn into that. Don't get drawn into thinking to yourself, oh, because I'm stuck at home, I can't enjoy life or I can't do what I've always wanted to do. We're getting to an end of that situation. We're getting to a time where you are going to be able to do what you've wanted to do freely. So it's important for you to not judge this moment and this situation as much as you have been. Then we have anger as well as adventure. So I see here that you have a drive to go on adventures, to get things done, to see the world. That is one thing that I see in correlation to adventure and anger. And I see here that you have to find a way to safely express these emotions, to safely express this frustration. So maybe you want to create art. Maybe you want to just already book something a year in advance so you know that you have no excuse to not go on this adventure, okay? Because one thing that I see here in adventure is the fact that you just need to dare to do things differently in your life. Finally, I see here that you are going to move to a new kind of location, okay? So that could be a new apartment, it could be a new city, it could be a new country. It's important for you to know that this is something that just there's a little seed that gets planted in May that you're probably not even going to notice, but it is going to grow and grow until the actual moving date happens. So allow yourself to just like live very consciously in May. Don't necessarily look out for the sign or for what the seed is. Just know that it is being planted in May and that you're going to discover more of this world as well as more of your surroundings. Then we have the Star as well as the Emperor. So the Star is a very favorable card, okay? So that is good news for you, all my Tauruses. I want you to know here that healing is happening for you in May. So while you may be in a space of contemplation and in a space where you have the tendency to want to say to yourself, oh, you know, like, why is this happening to me again? Why are these things in my life even though I didn't necessarily want them? I see that you're still going through a lot of healing because you will very quickly realize that obviously like the victim mode, the victim mentality is just not who you are. But on the other hand, in victim, one thing that I also see is that you kind of need to maybe get somebody out of your life who always plays the victim. This could be a family member, this could be a friend, just somebody who always likes to be the one who is the most hurt. Like I said, just play the victim. We all know what playing the victim looks like. So in the Emperor, I see here that you have to like not let that noise get to you. Focus on your goals, focus on creating stability for yourself and being around people who do not want to always turn things around into being the victim of the story. That is not very good energy. I see that that is something that brings up a lot of emotions of anger within you because you're not the kind of person who plays the victim in front of others. You're okay to like play the victim for 5 minutes for yourself, but you don't believe that that is a proper approach and a healthy approach. So don't allow that to anger you. Make sure that if you feel kind of like annoyed about it, that you don't express it in front of anybody, that you kind of use that anger and that energy what just happened to my voice, that you use that anger and that energy in order to channel that into a project that can benefit from that extra energy. Don't waste it on anger, because somebody who doesn't see themselves as playing the victim, most likely, you know, they don't see the need to change anything, so there's no point in you getting angry about it. So all my Tauruses, I hope that you enjoyed your reading and that you found it insightful. Let me know down below what hit home for you the most, and I will see you in one of my upcoming readings. Hello, all my Geminis of the world, and welcome to your reading. So we're going to be conducting your reading completely intuitively in order to figure out what is coming for you in May of 2020. So are you ready to figure out what's happening? I certainly am. So let's get into it. We have leadership as well as abundance. So we have two very favorable cards for you, all my Geminis. I want you to know in leadership that you are going to step into your role as a leader in May of 2020. So it may be that you have to lead your family, your friends onto a better path mentally. It could also be a leadership role, as in getting a promotion at your workplace. I see here that it's important for you to inspire and empower others. As I see here in abundance, that there is bounty coming towards you, okay? I see here that blessings are coming to you in May of 2020. So it's important for you to share, to be as grateful as you can be, because the more gratitude that we express and the more we share with others, the more we are able to receive. So keep that in mind, because it really does work. If you're a believer in the law of attraction, you will notice that the more you give, the more you receive. So don't be stingy with your time as well as your resources. Then we have joy and expansion. So we have a really great month coming up for you, all my Geminis. And joy, I see obviously fun, you know, having a good time, being able to bask in the light and the sunshine. And that is actually like a natural antidepressant, going out in the sun. A lot of us do not receive enough sunlight, enough of that vitamin D. Of course, you know, use some sun protectant, make sure that you're not out there for hours, but quick sun baths can have really miraculous effects on your mood as well as your mental state. So that is a little tip for you. And expansion, I see here that somebody may be inviting a new family member in, okay? So this could be a pregnancy, this could also be a pet, you know, just helping somebody out, fostering a child, something along those lines. That is what I see in expansion. So it is a fertile time. It is a time of conception in May when it comes to your sign. So if that is something that you're not into or that is just not in your realm right now, be aware of that and be a little little bit more careful. But if that is something that you're looking to kind of like increase the fertility, then know that May is a good month when it comes to that for you. Then we have complacency as well as recovery. Okay, so you're not going to move along as much as it seems like. I see that moving into this leadership role has been long overdue for you, okay? So one thing that I see is recovery coming for you in May. So it's important for you to know that you moving into this leadership role and taking control, maybe getting that promotion, helping others kind of out of a difficult situation is something that you've had in you for a long time. These are all journeys and paths that have been waiting for you to embark on them. So in complacency, I see that deep down in your heart, you're going to know that you should have done this. You're going to know that May of 2020 had to happen this way. And it may make you feel almost like you're complacent, which I want to warn you of, all my beautiful Geminis. Don't feel kind of like the peer pressure of always being super busy or always being super productive and effective. You giving and being there for others, but also just being able to take time to recover, recuperate, and receive the goodness that is coming into your life, receive the blessing that is coming into your life is okay. You don't always need to be busy or doing something or working. Just receive in May. That is one thing that I see is important for you. So we have the 5 of Acorns, we have the Star, we have the 3 of Acorns, as well as the Emperor. So this is a very interesting combination, okay? And the 5 of Acorns as well as the Emperor, one thing that I see here is the fact that it will be a little bit challenging for you to communicate clearly in a way that you don't rub anybody the wrong way. So there may be people around you who are overly sensitive in May of 2020, or they may just be going through a sensitive phase. So in the 3 of Acorn, I want you to focus on having more foresight and thinking really clearly before you say something, okay? In correlation to the Star, I see here that some people have hopes and dreams that they have not expressed to you. So be very careful with the words that you use and the possibilities that you talk to them about, because you may be just talking to them, not even noticing that you're hurting their feelings. So as I said, think through what you're saying a million times before you say it, before you communicate to others, in order to make sure that you don't kind of like crush their dreams without even noticing it, okay? So be hypersensitive when it comes to the words that you're using, not because you're sensitive, but because the people you're dealing with are a little bit sensitive in May of 2020. So then we have facade as well as completion. So one thing that I see here is that it's important for you to keep an eye on things that seem to be better than they truly are, okay? There are some things maybe on social media, maybe also just business opportunities that you have been presented with that really are just a facade for something that is just an endless money losing pit kind of thing, you know, just an endless vicious cycle of you kind of losing and not being able to properly move forward and create the life that you desire. So look out for that, as I see that, you know, in these vulnerable times, there are always people who want to take advantage of people who are vulnerable and of people who are in a difficult situation. So see through those facades, not only for yourself, because as a Gemini, you're very quick-witted, you're somebody who understands when another person is lying, okay? You have that sixth sense. So use that to also protect those around you, because one thing that I see in completion is that some people around you are running risk of getting into something that is not favorable for their career and not favorable for their life in general, but you can see through that. So warn them and know that you have very important tasks set out for you in May of 2020. So all my Geminis, I hope that you enjoyed your reading and I hope that you found it insightful. Let me know in the comment section what hit home for you, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello all my gorgeous Cancerians, and welcome to your reading about May of 2020. So let's figure out exactly what is going on for you, shall we? So we have expansion as well as complacency. So one thing that I see here is you kind of battling emotionally with how to move forward and how to take the next steps to growth and success. Okay, so I see that expansion is something that you want, but getting out of that complacent place is difficult. So I see that emotionally this is something that is tied together into a really kind of knotty situation. Okay, we have like a thick knot here in complacency that you are trying to solve. I see that May of 2020 is a month where you can break through into finally expanding into what you want. So it could be that next kind of level of earning, it could be that next level in your personal life, finally finding love. So I see that breaking through that is one of the things that you're most occupied with in May of 2020, because you're like, I know this is the right time for it. You're just feeling like you can move forward finally. So in the facade, one thing that I see here is that it's important for you to look out for people who are pretending to be supportive, but really they're not. Okay, so as a Cancer, you're somebody who doesn't forget. You may forgive, but you will never ever forget. I know this from personal experience, so it's important for you to just steer clear of those kind of people in general. Don't even allow them too close into your life. Oh, okay, we have cards speaking for themselves. Don't allow them too closely into your life and too closely towards your dreams. So let's see what this card has to say that just jumped out of the pile, shall we? We have workaholic. Okay, so we have a month that you just have no excuses. You just want to get things done. You're done being complacent. You're done procrastinating. You're going to get things done. So I see a complete overhaul, for instance, of your living space, finally decluttering, cleaning the whole house, and just finally getting a roll on the things that you have told yourself you wanted to engage in. So we're really pushing forward here, all my dear Cancerians. We have gentleness as well as courage. So one thing that I see here is that it will take a lot of courage from you. It will take a lot out of you, and it'll feel very strange being in this position where all of a sudden you're kind of breaking through boundaries that you have set for yourself or that you felt like life had set for you. So in gentleness, I see that you have to be kind to yourself. You kind of can tend to be very hard on yourself. You can tend to be the kind of person who always tries to do better and is never just happy with what they have already done. So look around, be happy with what you have accomplished in May of 2020, and don't focus so much on everything that is not yet perfect. Okay, be kind to yourself and speak to yourself in words of love. So we have the 5 of Acorns as well as the 8 of Acorns. So I have very fiery energy here when it comes to you in general in May, and that is something that kind of clashes with your water sign energy. So in the 5 of Acorns, I see here that it's going to be challenging for you to deal with how emotional you can get and how hard it is for you to forget tragedy or letdowns, and to still be able to like move forward in the 8 of Acorns. Okay, so this is going to be a challenge for you, but you can do it. You can overcome it. I see here in the 8 of Acorns an increase in energy and a real focus on receiving results. And that is what you should focus on, because otherwise you will remain complacent and it will be difficult for you to get back up and find the courage again. So make sure that failure is not an option in May, no matter what it is that you're trying to accomplish, because once you even allow failure to be in the same vicinity as you, in the same realm as you already lower your chances drastically of being successful. And then we have the Hanged Man as well as strength. So in the Hanged Man, one thing that I see is a shift in perception, as well as in strength, just kind of like the courage to do so. So you may have always been afraid to shift your perception, for instance, to being a vegetarian or becoming a vegan, and just kind of like that fear of having to give up a lot. But one thing that I want you to do, of course that is just an example for you, it could be something completely different, but what I want you to do is to shift your perception. Look at all that you can gain. So if it's, for instance, changing your diet or becoming more of a minimalist, look at all that you can gain, all the time that you can potentially gain, an increase in, being healthier and being maybe leaner if that is something that would be healthier for you, or in being able to not have any food intolerances affect your life anymore. So look at it from that point of view. Don't look at it from the point of view as, oh my God, I'm going to be losing out. I may miss something. Don't think of things that way, because that is what will stop you from pushing through your boundaries. Then we have hope as well as intention. So in hope and intention, I see that it's important for you to be clear and decisive, okay? In hope, I see that you need to stay positive. You have a lot of darkness that is behind you, and sometimes it can be tempting to look back, but that is just going to scare you. So look forward into the light. That is one thing that I see in hope, and just know that like the worst is behind you. May of 2020 is a favorable month for you. Then in intention, I want you to focus on what you want. Focus on what you truly desire. Be bold with your requests and just ask the universe for what it is that you want to accomplish. Of course, you have to put out value, but also just ask the universe for signs as to whether you're on the right path or not, to continue guiding you in the right direction. So all my Cancerians, this is the reading that I received for you. I hope that you found it insightful and helpful. Let me know in the comment section what hit home, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello all my gorgeous Leos, and welcome to your reading about May of 2020. So we're going to be conducting your reading completely intuitively, so just lean back and enjoy. So first and foremost, we have the Magician as well as the Three of Crystals. So I see here that a lot can be done in the earthly realms. A lot can be done with your finances. I see here that collaborating with somebody is going to increase your productivity. So if you have a friend that you would like to use as kind of like a tool to keep you accountable for growth, do so, because you and your friend can fire each other up. You guys can keep one another accountable for your actions, the things that you're doing and the things that you're not doing. As I can see here in the Magician, that there are things in your life that you can only really do if you're being held accountable for all the times that you wanted to procrastinate or save it for later or tomorrow. So make sure that you team up with somebody, that you collaborate with somebody when it comes to these accomplishments that you wish to have in your life, because just having that kind of like team effort is something that you need and something that will motivate and inspire you. So use that to your advantage, and then at the same time, you'll be helping somebody else out. You will be doing somebody else the same favors. So we have hope. One thing that I see in hope is that you have to stay positive. There is some darkness in May of 2020 for you, okay? But that darkness is not one that overpowers you, okay, or that kind of like takes over the situation. I see that the situation lies more in creation as well as productivity, but there are some fears here. It's important for you to know that the worst is behind you. You may feel like everything that can go wrong this year has gone wrong. So you may be very weary or afraid that more will happen, but know that the worst has already happened, and we're moving on now to more favorable times for you and your zodiac sign. Then we have prosperity. So that is exactly what we were just talking about. We have prosperity coming into your life again in May of 2020. I see here that this is most likely in the form of a gift of money. So it could be a gift of money coming into your account from a certain place. It could also be a gift of money where you find money that you didn't even remember that you had, okay? So I also see a potential of your income being increased, as well as the fact that you have to manage your finances well, okay? The more we earn, that does not mean that the more you should spend. So look at your finances, manage them with love, and make sure that you're investing and keeping track of them in a way that makes sense. So just because you have more money in May of 2020 doesn't mean that you should spend it. Your guides actually advise you not to, and that may be because, you know, there's an opportunity that is coming up in your life where you will wish that you would have kept that money safe. So bear that in mind. We have complacency as well as forgiveness. So all my Leos, you are very bold, you're very out there. A lot of people are intimidated by you. And one thing that I see here is that it can be hard for you to sometimes forgive yourself for certain things that you felt like you were too slow in acting, okay? So in complacency, I see here that there's some times where you wanted to take action, or you felt like you should have taken action, but you didn't for whatever reason. So even though you have a very bold nature, even you have fears, even you have things that you don't like doing or that you try to avoid. So forgive yourself for that. May of 2020 is a fabulous month to do so, to just be in a place where you feel safe, where you feel protected, and where you're the one keeping yourself safe. So don't down yourself, don't put yourself in an uncomfortable position, all just because you want to punish yourself for something that you maybe didn't do the way you intended on doing. And we have discovery, we have growth, as well as miracle. So one thing that I see here is that it's important for you to stand by who you are. So maybe you have some conflicting feelings when it comes to your sexuality, or you feel like you cannot express it as freely as you would like to. That is one thing that I see in discovery, that you still have a part of you that you can discover, a part of you that you can look into a little more, that has to do maybe with your preference in partner, maybe with your preference in just generally your intimate life. And one thing that I see here is that just through discovering that and growing into it and growing into feeling comfortable with who you are and knowing who you are 100%, I see that that is going to come with really miraculous changes. So in growth, I want you to know that growth is sometimes just being brave and admitting or just confessing to everybody around you who you truly are and how you intend on leading your life. So don't be shy to do that or feel as though people will not support you, because often our fear of not being supported or people not being receptive to who we truly are can keep us confined and in the closet or in a box for a very long time. So don't feel like you have to stay in your lane. You decide what lane you're in, and you can switch those lanes when it pleases you. So then we have the 10 of Acorns as well as the Sun. So overall, I see really good signs here for you, all my Leos. In the Sun, we have vitality, we have joy, we have a time of celebration. So this time of celebration may be in correlation to finally being able to leave the house more freely. I see here in the 10 of Acorns that you're dedicated to getting things into a new cycle. I see that you're at a place in your life in May of 2020 where you have a lot of responsibility to figure out what you're doing next and what happens next in your life and who it's going to happen with. But at the same time, you're kind of dedicated to just making the most of it. As I can see in the Sun, that mentally you're in a good space. Mentally, you're in a place where you can create, where you can make new things come to life, and you should make use of that, okay? Overall, we have a very favorable month for all of my Leos. So I hope that you enjoyed these messages and your reading. I hope that you found it insightful, and I wish you an amazing day or night wherever you are in this world. And I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, all my Virgos of the world, and welcome to your reading about May of 2020. So I'm really excited to intuitively figure out what is happening for you during the month of May. So let's get into it. We have grief as well as faith and prayer. So one thing that I see for you in May is the fact that you have some unresolved things that are going to resurface for you. So as a Virgo, you may be a little bit shy to express your true emotions sometimes. So I see that it's okay for you to take time for yourself to deal with the situation. You don't have to share it if it makes you feel uncomfortable. So one thing that I see in grief is that some emotions may come back of maybe a friend that you've lost, maybe a family member, a pet, just somebody that you felt close to. So obviously they don't need to be deceased. They don't need to be in another realm. They can still be here, because sometimes just not being in contact with somebody who you used to be close to can provoke certain emotions and feelings. But I want you to know in faith that for some reason, you know, that time came and that time had to come, and that the way how you can connect with them and the way how you can still have them in your realms if you wish to do so is through prayer, you know, is through being in a meditative state and just kind of putting the energy out there that you want them to be embodied with. So this is a very deep month for you, all my Virgos. This is a very deep kind of start to your month of May in 2020, but don't be afraid of this, okay? Because the moments where we're in very deep thought and contemplation and where we feel connected to other living beings are often the moments where we come to a lot of spiritual enlightenment or potential for spiritual enlightenment. Then we have sanctuary, we have beloved, as well as delight. So your guides want you to focus on the people who are in your sanctuary right now, your kind of closest people. I see here, you know, the people that you love and that you appreciate, the people who you live with, the people who are here in the earthly realms, who are in your life. I see that it's important to shower them with delight, shower them with joy, shower them with just telling them every day how much you care about them and how much you appreciate them and how grateful that you are for them. Because one thing that grief can fall into is getting into your head and putting yourself in a situation where you're kind of knocking yourself down, or you feel as though you should have done something differently when you can't go back into the past and change it. And at the same time, you did all that you thought that you could, okay? You did the best that you possibly could have. So why beat yourself up now? It's important for you not to do so. In sanctuary, I see here that just kind of spending time in your home, spending time cleaning it up, taking care of it, as well as making sure that you're preparing for friends and family to reunite in that space is something that you will be engaging in. And I see that preparing for your life partner in May of 2020 is something that you will subconsciously be doing because you can feel that they're coming into your life. If you feel like your life partner is already with you and already kind of in a partnership with you, know that this is a time where romance can be brought back into a place where it is healthy, where arguments and discussions can kind of be soothed out. Soothed, is that even an expression? You know what I mean? Can kind of be dealt with in a more positive way, in a way that isn't petty, that isn't mean, in a way where you're being productive in your relationship. So we have the Seven of Acorns as well as the Shadow. So I see here a lot of self-empowerment and hyping yourself up. That is one thing that I see in the Shadow. So while you can tend to be hard on yourself, at the same time, when you come to a point where you know you need to be your own hype man, you're okay with being your own hype man. So I'm not trying to gas you up, all my Virgos, but yeah, just do it. Be your own biggest cheerleader. I see that there is only like gain that you can take from that, as I can see here in the Seven of Acorns, that your determination and your stamina is needed in order to succeed and get to the next stages of your life in May of 2020. So don't be afraid to empower yourself, to make yourself feel good, and also to treat yourself with something. Then we have the Eight of Crystals as well as the Two of Acorns. So don't worry too much about finances. In the Eight of Crystals, one thing that I see is that you're making progress in just your financial realms, as well as most likely in your financial education. But know that education never ends. Keep learning about how to invest, how to save, how to build, for instance, your own side hustle. That is very important, even though in the Eight of Crystals I see financial success and abundance. The Two of Acorns speaks about being focused, okay? So be focused on this side, on this career side. I see that there's a lot going on emotionally and in your relationships, that there's no point in bundling all of your energy up and putting it only into those areas of your life. It's important for you to put focus also on your career, also on your finances, because there are things happening there. There is development, there is progress, and it would be a shame for you to not even notice that you're getting to the next levels and the next steps because you're so hung up in other things. So keep your awareness and your eyes and just your focus very open and open-minded, as overall I see that a lot can be enjoyed in May of 2020 for all my Virgos out there. So all my Virgos, I hope that you enjoyed your reading and that you found it insightful. Let me know in the comment section what hit home for you, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello all my gorgeous Libras of the world, and welcome to your reading. So I want to get into it with just intuitively laying your cards out to figure out what is happening in May of 2020 for you. So let's see, we have Justice, we have the Six of Shells, as well as the Traveler. So one thing that I see here is if travel plans have been canceled due to the situation in the world, I want you to know here that you will finally have clarity on when you can resume those plans, okay? And you will finally have clarity on what you're going to do with the situation financially. So maybe you're still waiting for money when it comes to that. Maybe you're still waiting on how to kind of like budget your year when it comes to traveling, and I see clarity coming when it comes to that in May of 2020. In the Six of Shells, I also see a newfound kind of sense of gratitude and newfound sense of joy in the people and relationships that are in your life. So in correlation to the Traveler, I want you to know that there are a lot of relationships in your life that have the potential to be a lot more important and to have a lot more of a positive impact on your life than you ever expected. So allow that to happen, allow that to be a possibility, as I can see here in Justice, that just speaking from your heart, speaking to the people closest to you about how you feel and the things that bother you can actually put you in a better place in May of 2020. So there are months where there are more argumentative streaks, and there are months where you're able to resolve things. You're able to resolve kind of pain and hurt that has been sitting there like an elephant in the room for a while. So May is definitely a productive month when it comes to finding resolutions. Then we have Wisdom as well as Victim. So we have two very different sides to this story, but I see that when somebody tries to play the victim, when you're resolving a situation in May of 2020, somebody tries to play the victim and tries to play the blame game. One thing that I see here in correlation to Wisdom is that you're not falling for it. You've been through this pattern with this person so many times, you know better. You're just going to let them play the victim for 5 minutes and then stick to the topic, stick to the conversation, let them know that you love them, you're there for them, you're being the bigger person, you're being mature, and you're not being sucked into any of these games anymore when it comes to relationships that have been difficult, or relationships with people who cannot be wrong or can never apologize for actions that they did that hurt you. Then we have Growth, we have Magic, as well as Prosperity. So I want you to know, because you're kind of like turning the other cheek, so to say, I see that a lot of growth is happening for you, and you may think to yourself, I do not want to be the bigger person one more time, because if I need to be the bigger person one more time, I am going to scream, okay? So I definitely see that here there's a lot to gain. So try and just get over any unpleasant feelings when it comes to you even just thinking of being the bigger person one more time, because I see that you have a lot of prosperity that you can gain. So in prosperity, I see here that a gift of money can come towards you if you allow yourself to be the more mature one, okay? I see in Growth that it would also be beneficial for you to seek out a mentor or a guide that can just help you take more baby steps towards what you truly desire and towards just becoming a better person who is more composed, okay? Who has a better sense of composure and can't be shook or shaken very easily. In Magic, I see here that magic surrounds you. Make a wish, okay? May of 2020, especially during the time of the new moon, write that in your calendar, okay? Make a wish then, because wishes are going to be very powerful. It is your month to make a wish and to just watch it come into reality. Watch it actually happen. So make that wish. It's very important for you. We have the Shadow as well as the Hermit. So one thing that I see in the Hermit is kind of like a tendency to overthink things. In correlation to the Shadow, I see here it is because you're very ambitious. So you kind of overthink every step. You overthink every kind of move that you want to make in your career and your professional life. But it's important for you to turn that contemplation into learning as well as maybe just goal setting. So if you're very stressed out about the next steps in your career or your love life, set a goal, write it down, make that wish during the new moon, because that is what will help you bring it to fruition. Harness that power that is in the air during that time. Then we have balance as well as gossip. Okay, so in balance, one thing that I see is that this comes naturally to you. I mean, you're a Libra after all. You like things to kind of be fair. You like things to be even. And gossip, one thing that I see is that somebody is going to come to you with gossip, but you're not here for it. You're kind of just wanting everybody to have a fair chance to express themselves. You don't just take somebody's word who is gossiping or who is talking badly about another human being. You want to hear their point of view, and that is a very strong thing. That is a very mature thing to do. So all my Libras, I want you to know that just stay composed, okay? You are growing immensely. You have a lot of growth that is happening in May of 2020, and it has a lot to do with wisdom, with maturity, with coming into the person that you can look up to, because the people who you look up to, they are balanced, they have themselves under control, and they do not allow others to kind of bring them out of character or to provoke them. And that is the kind of growth that I see happening for you in May of 2020. So all my Libras, I hope that you enjoyed your reading and that you found it insightful. Let me know in the comment section what hit home for you, and I will see you in one of my upcoming readings. Hello, all of my Scorpios of the world, and welcome to your reading about May of 2020 for you. So let's figure out exactly what is going on in your life, shall we? So we have quest, we have release, as well as abundance. So one thing that I see here is that you may be trying to force something. You may be trying to force a certain career path, a certain educational path, just a certain path in your life that is not meant to be for you. And what you need to do in May of 2020 is release it, as I see that there is abundance when you release what does not 100% resonate with you. So just as a simple example, that could be, for instance, trying really hard to study something that you know you're not really that into, but you want the social recognition or you want the paycheck that comes with that kind of job and that kind of like career, but it's just not you. So find a way how you can still get to the goal, how you can still get the recognition, the paycheck, the financial security, whatever it is that you want out of this situation. Find a different way to get to that abundance, because I see here that the abundance is here for you. I see that that is not the problem. The problem is the how you're getting to it, okay? So allow yourself to be very flexible in May of 2020. Then we have the Six of Shells as well as the Traveler. So one thing that I see here in the Traveler is that you can see potential, again, in adventure and getting out of the house and traveling. I see that that kind of horizon is opening back up after it's been closed and locked up for a very long time. As we know, things have been going on in this world. So in the Six of Shells, I see here that just kind of planning with the people who are closest to you what is up next is probably a good idea, as I see that you're coming together, you're spending time with the people who truly matter, and you're realizing who truly matters and who uplifts you, who is there for you, who brings you joy. And one thing that I see in the Traveler is that you will be able to see things from a fresh perspective and say to yourself, okay, well, why am I planning trips and outings with people who don't uplift me as much as others? So I definitely see you coming. Oh, okay. Okay, so we have a card that is clearly speaking for itself. What I wanted to say in the Traveler is that we definitely have like a situation of clarity and kind of like an opening. So the card that wanted to speak for itself is strength. So that is one thing that you're going to encounter in May of 2020. Okay, I see strength and a challenge that will make you stronger. So this could be a mental challenge, this could be a physical challenge. Either way here, I see that you will get through to the other side. I see that you have to look for the gifts and the positives in the situation. Then we have magic as well as patience. Know that sometimes we need to be strong for a long time, and it can be really hard, especially when it has to do with something emotional. And as a Scorpio, you're very closely connected to your emotions. You're somebody who has a very hard time trusting 100%, and you would like people to show you their true self. You don't like when they're hiding anything, and you can feel it, you sense it, you know it. So in magic, I want you to know here that all the signs are around you. You're not being guided or directed onto a path that you can't handle. So don't be so afraid of challenges. Don't be so afraid of things going down a route that you feel might be too difficult for you. One thing that I see here in patience is that you just need to take time to pause before you take action in May of 2020. You're a bit more impulsive than you usually are. And one thing that I see is that you have to trust that divine timing is at work, okay? So if you're looking to, for instance, expand your love life, to be in a committed relationship, allow time to do some of the work. Don't be the one, for instance, always texting first. The same goes for your career. Don't always be the one trying to reach out. Also, sometimes retract and just be patient and think to yourself what you want to do next without just acting impulsively. As I see here is that you have a lot of things that you can do while you're waiting, while you're giving life and just the universe time. A lot of things that can increase your productivity, a lot of things that can bring you to that next stage and next level in your career. So focus on that instead of anything that makes you emotional or uneasy. Then we have perception, we have mysticism, we have workaholic, as well as destiny. So give yourself some breaks, all my Scorpios and workaholic. I want you to know that being a workaholic is not cute, okay? It is something that will make you feel deflated, that will make you feel as though maybe you're close to a burnout or so. So know that your perception of being a workaholic is maybe not the only, it's definitely not the only perception, okay? Because you may be working a lot and think to yourself that, okay, you know, I'm doing a lot of work, but at the same time, why not? But to somebody else, they may perceive this as you being a workaholic, you being overly busy and never giving yourself enough time to really recuperate, because just a few hours every here and there is good, but sometimes we just need a few days, okay? And days on end to just be, not worry about work, not worry about relationships, but just be. So in destiny as well as mysticism, one thing that I see is a lot of mysterious energy here for you in May of 2020. There is something veiled around you. There is some sort of cloudy energy that you just cannot make sense of, okay? And it's very interesting, it's very intriguing, and you're kind of thinking to yourself, why does this happen? What does this energy mean? And what does this person mean that's in my life in May of 2020? So again, give yourself patience, give the situation time. I see that everything will reveal itself in time, and when it is the right timing, you might want to push things along quicker, but that is not a good idea for you. I see that you have to focus more on readjusting your journey, readjusting your path, and getting to this abundance that is just sitting here waiting for you, asking itself, when is my Scorpio friend finally going to arrive? When is my Scorpio friend finally going to release something that they have been like so dead set on in order to just come to me, abundance, to receive the abundance that I have? So focus on that instead of focusing on trying to push things along quicker than they're ready to be, than they're ready for, you know? So give things time, be patient, and try and keep your emotions in check. So all my Scorpios, this is a reading that I received for you. I hope that you found it insightful and motivational. Let me know in the comment section what hit home, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, all my beautiful Sagittariuses of the world, and welcome to your reading about May of 2020. So let's figure out exactly what is going on in your life in May, shall we? So we have enlightenment, we have renewal, as well as perseverance. So you may have been kind of hoping to come to a point of enlightenment, okay? That may be something that you have been trying to get to. In renewal, I see here that, you know, maybe you've been meditating, maybe you've been practicing manifestation, practicing yoga, just a lot of things where you can ground yourself, where you can get into your truest form, and you've been feeling like, yes, I've persevered, so why am I not getting to this stage of enlightenment? So I want you to know that enlightenment is something that comes when, yes, you're learning and you're trying different things, you're being persistent in certain kind of habits and acts, but at the same time, when you try and push for it, when you try and make it happen, that is when you just push it further away. So I want you to know that persevering in lots of these positive habits and lots of these habits that can help you find your equilibrium, that is something amazing. But don't put any pressure on it. One thing that I see in May of 2020 is that just letting yourself live without pressure, without also social pressures being a part of your life, is what you should be doing. Otherwise, it will be difficult for you to feel good about yourself and for you to feel good about your life. So let all of the social pressures and anything that makes you feel low or down or like you're not doing well enough, try and wipe that out of your mind. Then we have the Ace of Feathers, we have the 10 of Crystals, as well as the 8 of Feathers. So now I know exactly why you are supposed to leave those things behind, okay? In the 8 of Feathers as well as the Ace of Feathers, one thing that I see here is that you're coming to a point where you have mental clarity about an idea, okay? And this idea is one that if you don't put any negative little voices and thoughts to the side, you will be too afraid to express this idea and to bring it to life. I can see here in the 8 of Feathers that it will take courage. You feel like this little itty bitty mouse when it comes to your business idea or your idea on how to move forward in your personal life. So already knowing that you will kind of be insecure is something that is important, because knowing that you will have an amazing idea and that it will already be difficult to express it is going to make you think to yourself, okay, I'm not going to add anything else into the mixture that may make me feel so uncomfortable that I don't end up following through with this idea, okay? That is what I see in the Ace of Feathers. I see mental clarity when it comes to an idea that can move you forward in your life. In the 10 of Crystals, I see that that idea has grand potential to create stability in your life. And the crystals correspond to everything in the earthly realm. So this will create more time for you, more financial freedom, better health, okay? All of the things that we as humans often crave, things that can seem superficial but can really heal us and help us on a deeper level. I mean, of course, people say money does not buy happiness, but financial freedom buys you time and can buy you opportunity to better your health, to better your mental state. So that is something that is very valuable. So don't beat your idea down. I see here in the Ace of Feathers that you have a potentially life-changing idea coming for you in May of 2020, and it's important for you to be courageous enough to see it through and to give it a chance. Then we have the Traveler as well as the Shadow. So one thing that I see here in the Traveler is the fact that your potential is something that you don't even see. The Traveler is just blissfully unaware of a lot of things, and as a Sagittarius, you're very kind of like optimistic, okay? But at the same time, you can also be a little bit irresponsible, okay? And you can also sometimes be very restless, and that puts you in a situation where it's hard for you to see all that you have and all the potential that's in your life. So I want you to know here in the Shadow that self-empowerment is a topic that you're going to be looking at. And you may look at yourself saying like, hey, why don't I empower myself more? Why don't I do more for myself? Why am I always so restless trying to find the next best thing when I could just pause and kind of like make the most of what's around me right now? So answer that question, be honest with yourself, and make a change. Then we have past lives as well as possibilities. So one thing that I see here in past lives is the fact that you can release your past life karma in May of 2020. And this is a great opportunity because past life karma can also be something that is passed on through, for instance, your ancestors. I want you to know that genes are like a data bank, okay? They pass on a lot of information, and you may have received information from your ancestors that is keeping you afraid, okay? There have been experiments where people have hurt rats or mice when showing them cherries, and then they did not hurt the offspring though, but the offspring got stressed out even 2, 3, 4 generations away from the mice that had that traumatic experience with the cherries. And the offspring of that mice, even though they were never hurt when showed cherries, they had stress within them as soon as they saw a cherry. So that just shows that genes, that different experiences can be passed down. So I see healing when it comes to that. If your parents, your grandparents have been through something very traumatic, I want you to know that May of 2020 is a healing time for that. In possibility, I see here that in your zodiac sign, there is a lot of ways in which you can raise your standards. So that could be, for instance, raising your self-value, saying, I'm not going to hang out with these people who don't appreciate me anymore. I'm not going to take crap from anybody. It could also be kind of like elevating your expectations, and know that elevating your expectations does not make you high maintenance. Expecting somebody to respect you or to be faithful for you is not high maintenance. It is not, you know, just elevating your expectations to an unreasonable point. It is literally you just loving yourself enough to set boundaries and to say to yourself, this is what I want, this is what I'm going to put up with, and certain things I just don't desire. So keep standing up for yourself, keep being optimistic, and knowing that the people who really love you and deserve you are going to want to fulfill your standards just as you fulfill standards for them, just as you are loyal as well as honest with them. So all my gorgeous Sagittariuses, this is a reading that I received for you. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you found it insightful. Let me know down below in the comment section what hit home, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello all my Capricorns of the world, and welcome to your reading about May of 2020. So let's figure out exactly what is going on in your life during this fabulous month. So we have victim, we have facade, as well as complacency. So one thing that I see here is that you are going to come to a realization that, hey, maybe I've been holding myself in a more complacent place than I need to be in. So you may be procrastinating things. I see that May of 2020 is a month where you're going to figure out, like, oh my God, there's so many situations where maybe I played the victim, or I felt as though I couldn't move forward because I didn't have the time, I didn't have the money, I didn't have the resources of whatever kind, when I literally could have. But what I was doing is I was kind of like procrastinating because I was fearful. But I put up this facade of knowing what I was doing, when in reality I did not know, and in reality I was kind of like a bit too scared to move forward. So it is Judgment Day for you, Judgment Month, okay? You're going to come to a lot of realizations and a lot of clarity about yourself and your shadow side. Then we have Quest as well as Release, but do not worry, okay? One thing that I see here is that you have the ability to release any kind of feelings that come with that. I see that you're gonna get over it really quickly, any kind of negative emotions. That is one thing that I see in Release. As a Capricorn, you're somebody who doesn't hold on for too long anyway. So when you're in a dark place, you're in a dark place. But once you move out of it, like, it's just water under the bridge. As I see here in Quest, that you're moving on to a whole nother realm where you're more aware of your faults, you're more aware of your shadow side, you're more aware of the things where you have maybe self-sabotaged yourself. And just that awareness alone is something to be proud of and something to be grateful for. So then we have the Star, we have the Sun, as well as transformation. So we have a lot of very favorable aspects for you. In the Star, one thing that I see is peace. I see healing. In the Sun, I see that you will be able to learn in a space of happiness, in a space of also just feeling inspired, okay, in a space of inspiration. So some people, they wait till they get a health scare. They wait till they come to a situation where they have to learn in pain. For instance, if the doctor tells you, okay, you have type 2 diabetes because of your lifestyle, a lot of people only start changing then, when they're in pain, when they're in grief, when they're in agony, but not you, okay? I see that May of 2020 is a month where you get a grip on things that you have just been letting to kind of just be all over the place, but you're bringing it back together and creating a firm kind of mass again. So it's important for you to know here that all is good for you in May of 2020. I see in transformation that yes, it is a transition that is not going to be easy, and as a Capricorn, you can be stubborn, you can feel kind of like everything is doomed, okay? But liberate yourself from those feelings. This transition is happening for the best possible reason, in order for you to realize more about yourself and your actions, and to be enlightened enough to move forward without judging yourself, but also knowing better when it comes to situations where you have caused yourself unnecessary distress in the past. So we have strength as well as discernment. So in strength, one thing that I see is a increase in your personal strength, and that is something that you have maybe been waiting for. There are certain aspects of your life that you didn't want to face, but May of 2020 is going to throw them in your face in a way how you cannot ignore them. As I said, the facade is coming down, but you're okay with that. I see here that this personal strength is coming through kind of like this transformation into the new being that you're supposed to be, because I see that you have bigger problems. You have bigger things that you're dealing with. And with problems, I don't mean negative problems. I mean bigger problems as in trying to accomplish really big goals, trying to make a change in this world. And you know that, for instance, just accepting your shadow side and the fact that maybe you have caused yourself unnecessary distress, or you have slowed yourself down in the process of accomplishing certain things, that is not a problem, okay? A problem is how you're going to change this world. A problem to you is how you're going to be financially independent, so you can spend more time doing charitable work, so you can spend more time donating or even creating causes where you know where the finances are flowing, okay? So those are your problems. You're not really too upset about any realization that you're coming to with yourself. It just kind of comes with this transformation that you're going through. So in discernment, one thing that I see here is that you have to stay true to your knowing. I see that some people are not going to be happy with the transformation that you're going through because it'll make them insecure. They feel as though, okay, you're changing, you're bettering yourself, and that kind of like holds a mirror to their face, and they don't like what they see because they know that they are not in a space where they are okay with changing or even see the need to change. And to see you actively going through this transformation and actively also having kind of like hope and joy and light in your life can make some people very jealous. So look out for that, all my Capricorns. There are some people in your court, in your corner, that may kind of show a jealous streak. So it's important for you to try and stay away from any kind of arguments, from anything that is unnecessarily going to take energy away from all the things that you're going through and everything that is happening in your life that is so much more important. So then we have acceptance as well as wisdom. So you just have to accept that you're most likely going to be the bigger person, the more mature person in very many situations, especially when it comes to friends as well as family. Family especially, that is one thing that I see you coming to a realization of, that yes, you are just the one who is more mature, and you're always going to be the one who kind of needs to just turn the other cheek and just kind of needs to give other people time to vent and not be reactive towards it. But I see that that is turning into wisdom. You're just realizing that when other people act out on your expense, it is not something you should get mad about. You should ask yourself why they're doing that, and kind of say to yourself, I'm glad I don't need to do that, and I'm glad I'm not in a place of that kind of turmoil where I need to let it out on other people. So just put yourself in a space where you're immune to any kind of negativity. Put yourself in a space where you're immune to anybody putting their doubtful thoughts into your realms. You know what you're going through in May of 2020. You know that you're authentic, and you also know that you have to make positive changes to get to the next step in your life. So all my gorgeous Capricorns, I hope that you enjoyed this reading and that you found it insightful. Let me know down in the comment section what really hit home for you, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello all my Aquariuses of the world, and welcome to your reading about May of 2020. So I want to figure out exactly what is going on for you during this, okay, we have cards speaking for themselves, during this very interesting month. So let's get right into it. We have the Eight of Crystals as well as the Knight of Crystals. So we have cards in the suit of crystals that literally just jumped out of the deck, turned themselves around, wanted to be a part of your reading for a reason. In the Eight of Crystals, I see here that you have to give your career, okay, your professional life, that extra bit of dedication. I see here that it's important for you to stay stubborn when it comes to your goals, because sometimes there are certain people trying to deter you from your goals, or certain situations trying to deter you from your goals, but you do not need to allow that to take over or happen whatsoever. As I can see here in the Knight of Crystals, that your determination is really worth gold in May of 2020. So this is kind of like your guides trying to tell you, like, hey, don't give up, keep pushing. You're getting somewhere, even if it sometimes seems like you're stagnant, even if it sometimes seems like you're not able to get anywhere. Trust me, you're going places. That is one thing that I see here in the Knight of Crystals. Then we have renewal as well as forgiveness. So if you have given up in the past and you're thinking of giving up in May of 2020, don't do so, okay? As an Aquarius, you're somebody who has a lot of potential to make great changes in this world. You're very friendly and humanitarian, but at the same time, you can also kind of just get fed up of people and get fed up of things where you feel a lot of challenges and a lot of friction. So in renewal, I see that it makes more sense for you to focus on meditating, on doing yoga. And I know you may think to yourself, okay, whatever, like it doesn't make that big of a difference. Trust me, once you get into those practices and you can lean on them for kind of like emotional clarity and support, you will see how invaluable that it truly is. It's all about just making it a habit and getting into it and finding that space where you can make the most of those practices. Then we have rejection as well as miracle. So one thing that I see here is some form of prosperity coming out of a situation where you just felt rejected. So this could be a situation in the past where somebody rejected you. This could be, for instance, at a job interview or in love, and you felt rejected. You felt as though like, oh, maybe I'm not worthy after all. But I see here a miracle coming out of it in May of 2020. So that person who rejected you, who ghosted you, you're like, wow, thank God I'm not with you, because this is after all not for me. You are not for me after all. I am now seeing somebody way better in May of 2020. One thing that I see in correlation to your job, I see that you will have opportunities present themselves where you're like, oh, thank God I got rejected for that job a while ago, because right now there's so much more abundance and prosperity than I ever could have imagined would I have not been rejected, okay? So I see a lot of good coming out of rejection for you. I see a lot of positives happening in correlation to that, but let's move further into your reading. We have passion as well as awareness. So it's important for you to be very aware of how you act when you're very passionate about something. So maybe you have a very strong opinion and you resort to using language that is maybe not so kind when it comes to bringing your message across. So be aware of that. In passion, one thing that I also see here is that the things that fire you up deserve to be put in the best possible light. So make sure that you're not being argumentative, that you're not giving people a reason to say, oh, you know, she's really into environmental causes, but she's so crazy about it. Or, oh, he's really into building businesses, but like, why is he so adamant that this is better than that, or that it's not risky? Whatever the thought is, put yourself in a situation where you're just radiating positivity about your passions and you're not giving anybody a reason to say something negative about it, if you know what I mean. So in awareness, I see here that you have to be conscious of your thoughts. There are certain thoughts that are in your realms that are maybe not the most helpful. So if you have thoughts that are like, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'll never make enough money, all of those thoughts are destructive. I want you to know that your thoughts create your personal reality. So it's important for you to monitor your thoughts, to become very aware of your thoughts. And that is exactly what I spoke to you about in renewal. Practices such as yoga, such as meditation, such as just grounding yourself can help you become more aware of your thoughts, and in turn help you really kind of take control of them and figure out how you can make sure that you're thinking more positive thoughts than negative thoughts. There's so many like thousands and thousands of thoughts that go through your head each and every day. It is obviously impossible to monitor each and every one of those because a lot of them are subconscious. Most of them are subconscious, but what you can do is train the conscious mind to only think positive, self-loving thoughts about yourself, which will then seep through to the unconscious mind, which when you keep playing those mantras about how amazing you are, how successful you are, how you're going to change the world for the better, all of a sudden those mantras start to manifest into reality. Because guess what? If most of your thoughts are happening subconsciously, subconsciously, that means most of your actions are a program of your subconscious. So think to yourself, if you change that subconscious voice, what you can change in your actions that you're doing each and every day. You will be taking more inspired actions towards your dreams, towards your goals, towards making this world that we live in a better place. So you have a lot of potential in you for May of 2020, all my Aquariuses, and I'm fired up about it, okay? One thing that I can see in passion, not only for you, but also for the people around you, is that they can feel that you have a mark in this world that you're going to make, regardless of what happens. And then we have the 8 of Feathers right here, as well as the Ace of Crystals. So in the Ace of Crystals, I see here manifestation. That is exactly what we spoke about in awareness, just manifesting subconsciously, training your subconscious mind to manifest the things that you desire into reality and to just create a new reality. In correlation to the 8 of Feathers, one thing that I see here is that that is going to come with a lot of solutions, because you're going to finally realize that oftentimes you felt like there was an issue or a problem or some kind of challenge or blockage in your life. And then you come to realize that that blockage was created by who? By you, okay? And that is going to be a hard pill to swallow, but at the same time, in May of 2020, you're going to be so solution-oriented and just kind of trying to follow your passions and the things that you love, that you're going to think to yourself, wow, I'm just happy I got this clarity, so now I can make positive changes. Now I don't need to worry about that anymore. Then we have service as well as impatience. So it's important for you to ask those around you, especially those who are a lot younger or a lot older, how you can help them. I see that somebody needs your help and somebody needs you to be patient. As an Aquarius, you can be kind of like a little bit impulsive, okay? Impulsive and opinionated, which is obviously amazing for you to have your own frame of mind and not rely on other people to think for you, but at the same time, it can also make you a little bit impatient, which is something that I want you to look out for in May of 2020. After all, there's a reason why you've tuned into this reading. There's a reason why you're still here. So make sure that you focus more on being gentle, kind, and caring, and just letting that humanitarian side of yourself really shine through. I see that May of 2020 comes with a lot of amazing opportunities where you can help people in need, as I said, older or a lot younger than you, and you can teach them things. You can help them, for instance, run errands or do something around their house, their garden, that would make a big difference for them, that will have a big impact, a big positive impact on their life. So for you, it's just a little step. For them, it's something very big. So indulge in that more, as I see that that is something that is going to bring more abundance into your life, that is going to bring more positivity into your life, as well as more of a fluid transition from kind of going to a space where you feel unsure of what comes next, to knowing exactly what your purpose is and exactly what you're meant to do in this lifetime, on this planet, okay? So that is one thing that I want you to just indulge and engage in. So all my gorgeous Aquariuses, this is the reading that I received for you. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful. Let me know down below in the comment section what really hit home and motivated you, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello all my gorgeous Pisces of the world, and welcome to your reading about May of 2020. So I want to get straight into your reading to figure out exactly what is happening during this interesting month for you. So let's get right into it, shall we? We have wisdom, we have grief, as well as despondence. So one thing that I see here is that it's important for you to use all your life experiences as well as your wisdom in order to just overcome any kind of difficult feelings that you may have from your past. So feelings from your past are going to resurface in May of 2020, but it's important for you to know that you can deal with them maturely. You can deal with them kind of in a different way than you have in the past. So if in the past you resulted in crying, or maybe you have some sort of disorder that just got a lot stronger during that time, okay? Know that right now you're at a point in your life where you're stronger, where you're better, where you're wiser, and you can react more accordingly. Then we have magic as well as patience. So one thing that I see here in correspondence to magic as well as patience and despondence is just the fact that you have to give things a little bit of time. I see here that it is important for you to not try and push magic along, not try and push things along that are not yet ready, because you're not only going to hurt yourself and your possibility in gaining more success, more financial abundance, whatever it is that you desire, maybe love, you're also kind of going to get in other people's way if you do so. So being patient is something that your guides want to suggest to you. As a Pisces, you're somebody who is anyways very connected to their intuitive realms as well as their emotional side. So it shouldn't be too hard for you to understand exactly when it makes sense to be more patient. I see that you're somebody who just internally knows when you need to give things time and also when you need to just let people have their personal space. We have the 7 of Acorns, the Knight of Acorns, as well as the 4 of Acorns. So we have a lot of Acorns here. As a Pisces, you are part of water signs, but the suit of Acorns corresponds to fire signs. So we have some sort of yin-yang kind of situation here. So in the Knight of Acorns, one thing that I see here is that you would rather kind of be a little bit more soft, a little bit maybe even complacent, but I see here in the Knight of Acorns that you are going to be pushed to get things done. Okay, the Knight of Acorns is all about action and drive, and I see that being a part of your life in May of 2020. In correlation to the 7 of Acorns as well as the 4 of Acorns, I see that you're coming out of your comfort zone, but you're determined to come out of your comfort zone. So the difference between coming out of your comfort zone and doing so if you do not want to, and coming out of your comfort zone as determined as I see that you are here in May of 2020, is that you will be able to be more confident as well as just accomplish more, because now you're not getting out of your comfort zone because somebody is pushing you out. It's like you're determined to zoom right out of there and make the most out of your life, and that is something that is amazing. I want you to take that energy on in May of 2020 and try and carry it on. Try and make it almost like a personality trait, okay? To not be afraid to broaden your comfort zone, to make it bigger and bigger, because if your comfort zone goes till here and you take an extra step forward, all of a sudden you've gained like a whole extra area that you can explore, a whole extra area of possibilities. So just imagine doing this like every day, every week, where you will be in a year's time, in 5 years' time. So just use that as a motivator when you feel like you don't know, okay, when did this happen? We have quest in your reading. So one thing that I see here is that you're being led down a very specific road in May of 2020, and I see that it's important for you to listen to the signs, listen to the synchronicities, listen to that voice in your head that is telling you what route to go down. So we have renewal as well as insecurity. So I definitely see that what will kind of like plague you is the worry of leaving your friends and your family behind. I see that you have a new path and a journey where you're going to kind of change to a certain extent. Okay, so that could be your emotional realms. It could also be financially, you know, a big increase, for instance, in finances, or if you want to go live off grid, then that is where finances don't matter to you as much. And I see you kind of being worried and insecure about alienating people, but it's important for you to know that those who truly matter and care about you and love you are going to be supportive about this renewal in energy, as well as this renewal in who you are. So follow this quest, okay? It is meant to be. I see that the signs and synchronicities in May of 2020 are here for you for a reason. Then the Hanged Man, I see here that you have to change your perspective in a certain way. The Hanged Man hangs comfortably upside down. The Hanged Man has not been hung up there to feel uncomfortable or to be made to feel uncomfortable. So allow yourself to settle into May of 2020 in a way how you deal with situations in this new form, in this new composed you. That is one thing that I see that can kind of make you feel like, oh, maybe I'm not being true to myself, maybe I'm kind of being like a little bit of a hypocrite, but you're just maturing. That is one thing that I see in wisdom. You're dealing with grief, you're dealing with difficult situations in a different way, and it's important for you to know that that's okay. We have the 4 of Shells as well as the 2 of Acorns. So in the 4 of Shells, one thing that I see here is soul searching as well as reevaluation of yourself, because your life path is drastically changing in May of 2020. So that may make you feel like, okay, what are my core values? Who am I becoming? As I can see here in the 2 of Acorns, that you're very hyper focused on gaining insight about the person that you're developing into. And sometimes it's important to just let things happen. So all my gorgeous Pisces, I want you to know that magic is coming for you, okay? Be patient. There's a reason why magic showed up in your reading. There's a reason why we have patience in your reading. One thing that I see here is that it is highly important for you to just allow some things to happen, to just allow yourself to develop, and to not constantly be like holding like a magnifying glass over your progress and over who you're becoming, because that will just make you more insecure. That will just make you feel like, oh, I made a mistake there, I made a mistake here, and that will just put the focus on things that make you nervous and anxious, and we don't need that. As I can see that there's a lot of growth that's coming for you. There's a lot of action, a lot of drive within your reading. So overall, I see that things are moving into a favorable direction in May of 2020 for you. But at the same time, you have to be careful what you do with emotions of grief, what you do with despondence, and that you just keep any kind of negativity away from you, because you're very susceptible to other people's emotions in May of 2020. So all my gorgeous Pisces, I hope that you enjoyed this reading and that you found it insightful as well as motivational. Let me know down below in the comment section what hit home for you, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos.